In this video, our characters will be thinking about how to get to the Snowbush Sea from the Wild Pebbles Beach area in Waste Muck Glacier area. So they want to continue their journey. We have to sort out why a little bit maybe, but more important now is what's the best way to get there. Other ideas that we're thinking about, just playing with ideas. And the idea of a hero story arc. So if the GM, the game manager, is an idea for a story, who do we give that to? Another idea that we are thinking about is formulas and checklists and how to prepare for these sort of stories in the rough so that we don't commit too much of our time and effort falling in love with our own story when perhaps the players and the player characters end up coming up with different things, and just fate and the players end up moving away from what we as the GM might have planned.
Okay. We are Wild Art Fly Free and we are all about creativity. It's good to have you with us. We really like your feedback for brainstorming. And remember, we don't criticize. So long as you are positive and try to help, the worst we will do is ignore you. And then again, if people like your suggestions, they will become part of our world. It's fun. Just remember, everything we do is public domain, so if you have any ideas that you want to use in your own writing, don't share them with us. Everything that you share with us will become public domain, and that means that you will lose your copyright. Sorry for that, but on the other hand, you can feel safe that anything that you hear from us is safe to copy and use. No worries.
We need a character today, so we will build one from randomness. The dice can be allowed their say. First, the race. Our scientist is an elf. Next, the gender. A female. We will say a middle-aged elf woman. Okay. How magically talented is she? A 2, so, less talented than our hero, April line. And from the random name generator. Her name is Faylift.
So about those dinosaurs. Of course, we want intelligent dinosaurs that can live side by side with the humans, that is, with the elves, humans, dwarfs, gnomes, halflings, and other kinds of people like that. So for now we are going through dinosaurs that most look like humans, with tails and probably scales or feathers. A lot of dinosaurs have feathers, they're finding out lately. So maybe these guys could have either, or maybe both. And we will further our prejudices, saying that among the dinosaurs, it'll be the middle-sized dinosaurs, the roughly the same size as the humics, and they are the raptor types. They will be the most like proper humans in speech and thinking. And then we'll have the small guys, the smaller raptor type race, and they will be quicker and shallower in their thinking. So, sorry, they're not going to think a whole lot before they say stuff and do stuff. They're just quick thinkers and quick doers, quick, and probably have a high-pitched voices because that's cute. And then to contrast that, we will also have the bigger raptor types. So the ones that are bigger than the common humics, bigger than elves even, and raptor types, and they will be slower of thinking but deeper. So they have smart thoughts, but it takes a while to get there. And that's just some ideas that we can play with. And we don't want to really get stuck on this too much. There's a whole continent to fill up. But let's say for our first city, we will have these kinds of dinosaurs in this kind of situation. 3 types of raptors. The tallest ones are a bit slow when they speak, but they do a lot of serious thinking. And then the little quick ones that have some silly ideas, but they think of them quick and then they get over the problems quick. And then there's the middle size that are the most like us, but how will they be different? So let's put that city where that's the Waste Muck Glacier area along the Smallborough Strait, past the Not Wise Sea, all the way up to Stargazer Point on the shores of the big inland Snowbush Sea, which is the source of the warmth for Arapangia. In there, Stargazer Point, we will find our city. We don't have a name for this city yet, but that's where we're going to put these 3 types of dinosaurs while we play with them. And then we have lots of room for other kinds of dinosaurs and other situations to play with. It is an entire continent, and it is a big continent.
Okay, we are in Wild Pebbles Beach Town. You have been in the town since yesterday. You visited the local tavern where you saw the kobold sailor, Dalig. He was the sailor that you rescued from the rigging on the ship, and he has been a friend to you since then. Anyway. You also met the server, Ruth, who is a human woman. And Yin Leith, who is the bartender and an elf woman. Later there was a barroom brawl that you avoided, but you did see another character, the dwarf named Gladrock, who was maybe defending Ruth, but maybe just looking for an excuse to fight. Now you wake up after drinking under the main pier.
So, Turtle? Do we have our luggage with us? I mean, even if I have a hangover, I will still be worried about my appearance. I mean, it is a new town and I have a reputation to maintain, or maybe after last night, I have my reputation to recover. Anyway, do I have my morning supplies handy?
Okay, we weren't keeping track of your luggage, but we will now say that Darkwing and April Line have been carrying their baggage around with them. Probably 1 backpack each, or the equivalent. So you, April Line, will want to clean up and do your morning, taking care of your appearance, routine. And, how about you? Dark Branch. What will the young man gnome rogue do? First thing in the morning after spending the night under a pier, drinking.
So okay. I think the drinking and sleeping under the pier is just normal life for Dark Branch. So, I guess that I will ask April Line how he is doing and what he wants to do. So friend, what was it? No, the wizard April Line. Is that right? Anywho. How are you and what would you like to do? Should we go find some breakfast?
Oh, yes. We should be able to find a washroom with a mirror at whatever morning eatery this town has. What time do you think it is? How do these guys know when to open when the sun never properly goes down or comes up?
That is a good question. I guess we should maybe just go and see what we can find.
Yes. Gnome Dark Branch. Let us go and see what this town of Wild Pebbles has.
Our characters will be thinking about how to get to the Snowbush Sea from the Wild Pebbles Beach area in Waste Muck Glacier area. So they want to continue their journey. We have to sort out why a little bit maybe, but more important now is what's the best way to get there. So we will think about three possible choices. They could go across the glaciers, perhaps on a science expedition, or they might go walk around the shoreline and try to keep their heads down because that would be avoiding government restrictions and limitations, the reason they can't get in. Another option would be just to try to sort out the government limitations and restrictions, but that would probably require money they don't have, so maybe they could just gather money. And another option is to join in with some smugglers that tend to get into the Snowbush Sea area on a regular basis, but with some danger.
You have met a scientist who is going across the glacier ice. She is a woman elf scientist. Her name is Faylift, and she would agree to bring you along, but you will have to help and there is no pay and no promises.
But, she does seem to know what she is doing. She has it planned out and has been planning this for some time. She even has stored up caches of food already along the way.
Yes, April line, what could possibly go wrong? So Wu also, are you sure that you aren't just making that choice because Faylift is an elf woman and you are an elf man?
And, Faylift is quite attractive, although she is middle-aged and April Line is a young man. So, Faylift might be old enough to be April Line's mother. I don't know. Would that make any difference in elfin culture?
Well, Turtle. I don't know either. Is that something that we should decide now?
Why not, Bunny? We are making stuff up all the time. Let's put this one on you. After all, you are quick enough to hop to decisions. So, if that's all right with you, Turtle, we can let Bunny decide if age is a concern regarding elfin romance.
Okay. No worries. So Bunny, is age a concern regarding romance in elfin culture?
Well, then. If you guys are putting this one on me, then so be it. But since Dark Branch wouldn't know about the answer, then maybe I will leave it to reveal at some romantic moment in the future. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh yes. That is excellent. So, anyway. That now gives you three choices for going to the Snowbush Sea Nation. You can sneak along the shoreline, as the human barmaid, Ruth suggested. And, as she said to you, she would go along with that idea if she had the right group to go with. Or, you can join with Dalig, and work with the smugglers. That would be a risky adventure along the waterways. Sort of a pirate kind of thing. And, now you have the choice of trekking across the ice with Faylift, and one other person that we don't know about yet. And well, there doesn't seem to be any urgency to your choice, except that staying in Wild Pebbles is costing you money and it isn't getting you anywhere. If you want to stay, you will probably need to find jobs. That is certainly something that we can think about.
Oh, no. Dark Branch really wants to get on with going to the Snowboosh Nation. He hasn't told April Line why he wants to go, but he has reasons.
Oh yes. April Line feels the same way, but maybe for the same sorts of reasons. That's probably why I have never asked about why Dark Branch wants to go. Since April Line has his own secrets, he doesn't want to bring up that kind of question. Anyway, I think that April Line will talk to Dark Branch. So, I think that we should probably go across the ice. It is a sensible plan and I am sure that we can trust Faylift. I don't trust pirates or smugglers, and since this place never gets dark, I don't know how we could sneak along the shoreline. And, we would have the same risks with creatures and food as we would across the ice.
Okay. Nova Wizard April Line. I agree. I think that we can trust Faylift. So, should we go talk to her now?
Yes, Rogue Dark Branch. Let us do.
So that's some ideas we're playing with while our heroes, Dark Branch and April Line, are also playing with these ideas. Other ideas that we're thinking about, just playing with ideas. And the idea of a hero story arc. So if the GM, the game manager, is an idea for a story, who do we give that to? April Line or Dark Branch? Well, the answer is neither. Do not give. We're suggesting that you should not give your story arc ideas to the PCs. The players can try to do that if they want, but not the GM. Uh, if the GM really wants to tell a story about a character and give them a character arc, make it an NPC, a non-player character that the GMs play, and hope that the players and the PCs are involved in that enough to continue the story. So that's all the adventures of the GM in a tabletop role-playing game. Another idea that we are thinking about is formulas and checklists and how to prepare for these sort of stories in the rough so that we don't commit too much of our time and effort falling in love with our own story when perhaps the players and the player characters end up coming up with different things, and just fate and the players end up moving away from what we as the GM might have planned.
Planning. Okay. We find ourselves in the middle of a big patch of chaos. Now we want to make our way to a perfection. What do we do now? Should we just wander around inside the chaos until we trip over a nice patch of perfect? Some people are like that. No. That isn't really being creative. Gold panning the chaos isn't creating, is it? It's more like prospecting. Anyway, we need to imagine how our current crop of chaos might lead to some sort of perfection. We fix that place in our mind and then we go toward that direction. We should probably make a plan. Planning is building a map through our timeline. We want to move toward our perfect vision. Who will do what? How long should it take and how do we know when it's done? How long before we are halfway there? How much story should we have at that point? How much will be for sure and how much is just guessing? So, we have now finished brainstorming. Now we do the part of creating that needs conscientiousness. Good luck to us.
So we are playing with maps and places, place names, that sort of thing. Especially while we started with the area in waste muck and we are still building on that. We want to rough out some of the Snowbush Sea. Now, just looking at the map, the Snowbush Sea is roughly the same as waste muck, and in some ways similar in that waste muck is mostly glaciers in the middle, so the livable land is just around the edges. Snowbush Sea is also the livable land is just around the edges, so in size they're not that much different. But of course, the Snowbush Sea is the source of warmth in Era Pangea, so there will probably be a lot more people there just because it's nicer and warmer, and there will be dinosaurs. Now, one thing is we want a city, and more than one city. And our city, we want a name for our city. We could go to a random name generator and come up with a city name, but we want to be even more random than that. So we will use the dice method. We'll use our D6, and first roll of the D6 will decide how many syllables. So somewhere between 1 and 6. 6 is a pretty long name, but that happens sometimes. And 1 is pretty short, but let's roll. And we get a 1. A single syllable word for our city. Okay, then roll it a couple more times to make sure we're getting a random syllable and counting things out. We get the syllable T. Doesn't matter how we spell it, it's just the sound, right? It could be tea, like cup of tea, could be a golf tee, could be somebody's last name is T that it's named after, or maybe it's just a syllable that maybe it's a dinosaur word. So we don't know what T means, but other than it is the name of a city. And we don't know too much about this city other than this is the place where the humics, that is elves, humans, gnomes, dwarfs, and halflings, the humics, live together and also live with some dinosaur groups. And as we were thinking, these are all raptor looking guys in 3 different sizes for 3 different groups. The big tall guys, taller than the elves, were the slowest thinking but have deepest thoughts. So, wise people. The middle-sized dinos are roughly the same size as the humics, the different sized dinos, and they're the most like us in talking and thinking. And then smaller than the smallest of the humans, smaller than gnomes or halflings, those dinos are the quickest of thinking and come up with some silly ideas because they didn't think them out properly. So those are our dinos, and they're going to live with humans in that city called T. Other than that, we're going to keep the city kind of rough now, and gradually we'll fill it out as we come up with more stories about Era Pangea and our heroes and the different people we come up with. So that's all part of the process. Don't want to, map out too much too soon. Where's the fun in that? So tell us what you think and just hang in there, okay?
We are Wild Art Fly Free. And we really are all about creativity. We are still getting started, that is, while we are putting out this video. We are just getting started. We know that we can do better, but of course, that's what the future is for, isn't it? A place to do better. We don't know when you are watching this video. Maybe we have just released it and Bunny and Turtle are still working on the next one, or maybe this is all ancient history. Either way, leave a like so you can see more videos like this one. Please tell us what you think. Add a comment below. Be kind if you can, but if we can do better, please tell us how. Criticism isn't totally fun, but it does allow us to see things that we haven't seen before. Or maybe we can help you. What sort of problems are you having with your creative projects? Do you brainstorm? Do you have ideas about brainstorming? We like new ideas and we will take your suggestions and comments into consideration for future videos. And please leave a like. If you want to see more, hopefully better videos, just take a moment to press the like button. Thanks. See you later. We hope.